Is the DJI Pocket 2 still a camera that you should buy, even if you actually have a cinema camera? Let's find out. If you have been following my channel, which you should by the way, you know that I have the Canon R5C and that I'm quite excited about it. However, I just bought a house that we plan to renovate ourselves, and I want to document the whole process on YouTube. I want to include our experiences with certain techniques as well as product reviews. And for that project, I thought I should get a very simple, all-in-one camera that I can quickly set up so that it won't slow me down when I want to get work done. So I got the DJI Pocket 2. DJI currently has some good deals on it, probably because a new version is going to come out soon. It was released in 2020, so I had some doubts that its image quality would really satisfy me. But on the other hand, for a good price, maybe it would. I like the fact that it has a gimbal built in, and in my opinion, smooth camera motion is half the rent for professional looking content. And hardware stabilization does a lot for image quality as well, because it prevents unwanted motion blur caused by the camera shakes. Digital stabilization can't do this unless computational photography/videography is in place. And none of that is happening in the Pocket 2. It is really just a classic camera with a fixed aperture that can be used in full manual mode or full auto mode, or in some very good half automatic modes that, for example, keep the frame rate constant and adjust the ISO continuously. But let's go through it one by one. Size. This thing is super small, smaller than I thought from the pictures. I can easily carry it with me in my bag, and you might have heard the quote, "The best camera is the one that you have with you." So if you're really interested in filming a lot in your free time, you will probably use this a lot. With my cinema rig, on the other hand, I only film when I have a real project. I don't carry my R5C around all the time, and definitely not together with a gimbal. Screen size. The tininess of the camera is also its biggest problem though. The screen is super small, it's really hard to see if things are going okay. I, for example, shot a lot of test footage totally out of focus without noticing, because I had set the focus to the wrong mode, probably by accident. Most of the things need to be done on the touch screen, and that can be a bit of a challenge. Focus and bokeh. There are two focus modes. One is single, which only focuses once when you tap on the screen, and the other one is continuous. For some reason, the last mode recenters the focus zone after a couple of seconds, so you cannot really have it continuously focus on a selected area, but only on the center. The bokeh is, I would say, almost not noticeable, but that's what you would expect from such a small wide-angle lens. Image quality. I have to say that I like it a lot when there is the right amount of light. The colors look good and the image is sharp in 4K. If it's too dark though, you definitely get noise. It has not been a big deal for me so far, but I haven't used it at night yet. On the other hand, I often ran into the situation where there was too much light, and when you cannot reduce the ISO anymore, you have to increase the shutter speed, which leads to stroboscopic movements. But that's the case with every camera. I'm just saying this because you might think that this camera does everything because it's a consumer product, but you actually need ND filters like with a cinema camera, if you want the right amount of motion blur. If you don't care about that, then sure, it works without any accessories. The dynamic range is not great, but okay, I would say. You can increase it a lot if you record in D-Log, as you can see here. Keep in mind though that the Pocket 2 only records 8-bit colors, which is not optimal for recording in a flat profile. Stabilization. Obviously, this is the biggest feature of the Pocket 2. If you have the Ronin RS gimbal, you will immediately feel familiar with the handling. It has multiple follow modes and gimbal lock, and just like with the Ronin gimbal, you still have to minimize up and down movements yourself. That's called gimbal walk or ninja walk. I did not do that very well in some of the footage here, and you cannot really get rid of that in post because the whole scene transforms due to that movement. Matrix stereo. Well, DJI tricked me into thinking that the Pocket 2 would record 4-channel audio. Maybe it does, but you don't get 4 independent channels to work with yourself. You get very good stereo that adapts with the zoom level and with the orientation of the camera, but that's it. Tracking. The Pocket 2 can track and follow your face. In my tests, this did not work too well. It often lost me and really ruined the shot then, I've heard that tracking works a lot better if the Pocket is connected to the iPhone, but this is not an option for me because I want it to work standalone. Alternatives. The biggest competitor for this is probably the phone that you already have. I still have an iPhone XS, and compared to that, the image quality of the Pocket 2 is a lot better. I recorded some comparison footage here, and you can see that the Pocket 2's footage does not have that typical phone noise, if you know what I mean. The Pocket 2 might not be such a big upgrade if you have a more recent phone. The question is, I think, do you want to use your phone for filming or do you want a separate device? In my case, I want a camera that can get dirty. I might even put it in a dust and waterproof case. Those also exist for phones, along with cages, tripods and side handles. But what happens if you need to take a phone call or if you need to look something up online? That's the reason why I got the Pocket 2. I don't want to use my phone. If you do, however, DJI also makes great phone stabilizers, and with that you would get equally good stabilization, but also have a bigger screen, better tracking and so on. I've really had a lot of fun with that camera so far. It obviously does not replace my professional camera plus Ronin RS2, but it feels a bit like a mini version of it that I can have with me all the time. I hope this video was helpful for you. Make sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think of this little camera. See you next time.